I'm Rick Smith, and this is Labor History in 2.
On this day in labor history, the year was 2006. That was the day mounted police charged 50 janitors and their supporters during a protest in Houston. SEIU's Justice for Janitors campaign had been organizing for years throughout the South and Southwest. Modeled on success achieved in California, SEIU broadened their campaign to Houston and Miami. The union called a month-long strike against the city's largest cleaning companies. Protests and civil disobedience actions continued throughout the strike. Hundreds of strikers routinely marched through the streets of Houston, beating drums and hauling bags of garbage into the middle of intersections to highlight the key services they provided to the city. They were subject to repeated threats of firings and arrests. When police charged at the janitors, it served to turn public support in favor of the strikers. By the end of the month, Tom Balinoff and SEIU Local 1 in Chicago claimed victory for 5,300 Houston janitors. The Chicago local had been central to the 3-year campaign in Houston. Incomes doubled and janitors finally had health insurance, paid vacations, and holidays. The Chicago Tribune detailed the campaign in a November 25th article. The union lobbied building owners and major corporations who held contracts with the cleaning companies. The union worked to gain a foothold among the janitors, sending in seasoned Latino janitors from Chicago to help with organizing. SEIU committed millions of dollars to the organizing drive, setting aside $1 million alone in strike funds. At a victory rally, union leader Flor Aguiar proclaimed, "No one thought a group of poor Latinos from Houston would be able to win anything. But today, we can lift our heads up very high."
For more information, go to laborhistoryin2.com, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at laborhistoryin2.
What hit the Republican Party on Election Day was, well, the Republican Party. Blow number one, of course, was from the party's president and cult boss, Donald Trump, who wields his narcissism like a political bludgeon. But then, Republicans got an even more damaging gut punch from the party's own Supreme Court majority of 6 partisan hacks. They chose this election year to assert their personal ideological view that the government should control every woman's birth decisions. Not popular. Then, like a karate chop to the party's own neck, its congressional leaders let loose with a pre-election announcement that, if put in charge, the grand old party would go after people's Social Security and Medicare benefits. But Republicans also got hit with something beyond their control. A bevy of new, unabashedly progressive Democratic candidates running on real populist issues that matter to workaday people, backed up by legions of energized grassroots activists. Candidates like Summer Lee, who will be the first black woman elected to Congress from Pennsylvania. Championed by Working Families Party, Our Revolution, and other Little D Democratic groups, she beat back concerted attempts by corporate powers in both major parties that tried to demonize and defeat her, including a last-minute dump of $1 million into her GOP opponent's campaign by the American-Israeli Super PAC. Another is Lena Hidalgo, the feisty people's advocate who is the top county official in Houston, Texas. She faced down a pack of ultra-rich oil magnates, developers, and other corporate interests who put up $9 million in a failed effort to boot her. This is Jim Hightower saying grassroots progressives showed in this election a promising path to Democratic rejuvenation. Run aggressive campaigns offering real change from the business-as-usual politics of both parties. The Hightower Radio Lowdown is brought to you by the Lowdown Happy Hour, live streamed from the Chat and Chew Cafe. Details at hightowerlowdown.org.
Welcome back to the Rick Smith Show. Now, here is Rick Smith.
So this week, the Department of Labor launched its National Apprenticeship Week, recognizing the incredible and important work that our building trades are doing and training the next generation of crafts folks to, well, build the infrastructure, the buildings, the skyscrapers, all the things that we need. Sorry, I do not recognize the non-union contractor. Sorry, ABC, your program sucks. So no, you don't get recognized during Apprenticeship Week. Just the registered apprenticeship programs. Those are the ones that I recognize. Because what we know is in the building trades, when you complete one of these registered apprenticeship programs, graduates earn on average about 77 grand. That, my friends, that's a pretty good chunk of change, especially when you're not saddled with a lifetime of student loan debt, especially when you're not being, hounded by debt collectors, because a lot of students I know, huge problems. And these registered apprenticeship programs are a pathway to a career of financial stability and that middle class that we talk about all the time. That's why I've asked Jamar Evans to come talk with us. He is a first-year apprentice with the Bricklayers and Allied Craft Workers in Washington, D.C. Recently met the president showing off his skills as a bricklayer. Jamar, thanks for taking time for us.
No problem, man. It's nice to have you.
So let's start with the why do we want to be a bricklayer? What is it that made you go, you know what, this is what I'm going to do?
It all started in high school, man. I was a sophomore. I signed up for a HVAC originally. I wanted to be, working in HVAC, but I ended up getting switched to a masonry class. So I was a bricklayer at that point from my sophomore year to my senior year of high school. And I graduated, and I just had a love for doing it. Like, I just fell in love doing it over and over. I would get better with repetition. And I graduated high school in 2020. Mind you, this is around the pandemic. Everything was shut down. I just had no plan at that point because every option I had was canceled because of the whole pandemic. And I signed up for Job Corps. A friend told me about Job Corps, and got to Job Corps, and from there it was a lot. I learned more in the Job Corps facility than I did in the vocational tech school in high school.
Well, that's what it's supposed to be. So you're a young guy. You've right out of high school into this program. I mean, that's kind of what it's kind of supposed to be, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So what are your friends saying? I mean, are you pushing them? Are you showing off to them? I mean, recently you got to show off in front of the president. That's pretty cool, right?
That was definitely cool. I mean, I didn't expect the president to be so close to me, but yeah, he was right up on me, man. I showed him he actually wanted to, cut a brick in half. I couldn't show him that in the White House.
They don't let you have the sharp stuff in the White House?
Yeah, they told us we couldn't have things like that. He told us before what we couldn't do and what we could do, and we understood very well. So,
no. Look, and this is one of the things that I love about Joe Biden, because not only wants to learn a little bit, but wants to put you to work. That infrastructure bill that was passed a year ago yesterday, that's probably going to be your career. That's probably going to be the job the bill that employs you for the rest of your life, and probably every kid that gets a job like you on into the future because of the investments we're making in today and tomorrow. So, you're the future.
Yeah, feels good, man.
No, and the fact that you're not going to be saddled with a lifetime of student loan debt, that's got to be pretty okay too, right?
Hey, that's more than okay.
So what are you going to do with all this money that you're going to be eventually come rolling in? Because right now you're earning as you're learning in this, because this is the key to the building trades. This is what I want folks to understand. When you go off and you learn a trade and in the building trades, they actually pay you while you're learning this trade because you're actually doing the job. And then eventually you get your journeyman papers and all this stuff. And then you make even more money as you get better at your skill, at your craft, at your trade. You earn higher wages. That's kind of the gig, right?
Yeah, it's definitely the gig. I would want to add to what you were saying. Being out here working with these guys, old-time bricklayers and stuff, they're just very warm, and they're just like a brotherhood almost, man. You're struggling with something, they'll come around and help you. It's like we're all winning, We're all one.
No, and that's the important part of this, and that is the focus of a union. It's the reason that I've been a union guy my whole life. Where I grew up, when you saw someone get a union job, you saw their lives get better immediately. They had food at the end of the month. Their lives got better. Kids got, secondhand bikes. They got secondhand cars. They eventually moved out of our housing project. Their lives got better. And this is the message that I think of the day, union job, better life, but especially for your generation that's, coming into an economy that isn't great for them. This is truly a career path for young people like you to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to build something, I'm going to build a future, I'm going to build a career, and I'm going to make good money doing it. I'm not going to be saddled with a lifetime of debt. This sounds like the perfect path for a good number of folks. So when you're talking to your friends, are you pushing them all in this direction?
I'm definitely pushing everybody in the same direction I went in, whether it be, it doesn't have to be bricklaying. I'm just saying as in, you could be a welder, anything that suits you. I'm definitely pushing everybody into, these careers because, it's warming. It just feels good to build stuff with your hands and look back at it and say, I built it, but you built it with its years,
So what have you built? Because here's the thing. This is the annoying thing. And you're going to be annoying. I'm telling you this right now. Eventually, you're going to be really annoying. Because I've got building trades friends who will drive down the road going, yeah, I built that, I did that. Oh, shut up already. Anything you've built?
I mean, all right, so my first...
Here it comes.
This will be my project. It's not finished. It's not even completed yet. But you could still drive past it and see.
There we go.
Because we're building I think it's a new art center for Bowie State University. It's in Maryland. It's not done yet, but we do have a couple staircases up already, but you can drive by and see them. So, yeah, I'm proud of, being able to be working on those staircases and stuff like that. Project's not done. Maybe be done probably sometime next year, but that's will be my first project I can say that I built,
Yeah, so you can write this down on the calendar that I told you on this day. When your grandchildren are here, you're going to take them to those steps, and you're going to go, these are the first steps. This is the first thing I ever did. Because this is what you guys do. And look, I understand the pride. I understand the fact that you've created something and left something for us and for the future, and that's a great thing. But it gets a little annoying. That's kind of mean, isn't it?
Yeah,
no, but I appreciate the time you've given us. Any advice for young people your age who are going, hey, I'm looking for a direction, any advice?
I mean, I would definitely advise people to look into Job Corps. Check it out. Go through orientation, check it out, see what it's about. Job Corps opened up a lot of doors for me, and it's so many things that they offer you. You can do more than one trade there if you would like, and it's just really beneficial for you than probably taking a college path or a path that you're not, your family's telling you to take, but you're not too sure about taking it. Look in the Job Corps. They'll help you get to where you need to be, and I think it's the best option. Always be humble. One more thing I could say is be humble. Just stick to your dreams. Stick to what you want to do. Don't be doing something that someone else is doing because you think it's going to work. Just stick to your dreams and stick to what you like doing. And that's, for my generation, that's what I have to say.
There you go. Jamar, good stuff. It was really good meeting you. Congratulations. Keep up the great work, and I wish you the best in your career. And I hope you build amazing things and rebuild our infrastructure in our nation. Thanks so much for coming on.
No problem, man.
Good stuff. If you want to check out more of what our friends over at the Bricklayers are doing, check out their website, bacweb.org. We'll get links out on social media how you can take a look at that. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, another bricklayer going to share some of her stories. Lindsay Brown's going to be here. She's a third-year apprentice, as where Jamar's a first year. She's a third year. She's got another interesting story that I want to get to. So we're going to take a quick break right back after this. Stick around. Listen to The Rick Smith Show. We're working people. Come to talk.
Welcome back to the Rick Smith Show. Now, here is Rick Smith.
Still got time to partake in Banned Book Week in my local public library. Good on them. The good folks at Bosler Library are celebrating Banned Book Week from the American Library Association. All of your favorites, all of your favorite banned books right there, able for you to, find out what all the craziness is about. And I'm Rick Smith.
You're listening to The Rick Smith Show, where working people come to talk.
So as we've been talking, National Apprenticeship Week, and, I've been trying to push my kids in that direction, going, hey, maybe think about getting into one of these apprenticeship programs, learn a skill that, look, even if you do for a year, 2, 5, you have this skill, this portable skill that, in decades down the road, you're still going to have, even if you choose to do something else. My next guest, also a bricklayer, in her 3rd year of the apprenticeship program. She doing the bricklayer thing, because, hey, got to have a career, got to bring money in, but also does beauty pageants and was actually a finalist in the 2022 Miss New York competition. So, wow, doing the bricklayer thing during the day, doing the runway, pretty impressive. And here to share some thoughts on why the bricklayer thing, because if you got the other, I don't know why, but we're going to find out. Lindsey Brown, thanks for taking time for us.
Hi, Rick.
So I got to start right there. Why the bricklayer thing?
So I think it really started when I got out of high school. I graduated at 16. I actually wanted to go to college to be a pediatrician. I quickly realized after like 2.5 years, that I just don't learn like that. College isn't everybody's learning style. I needed to make money while I was in school, so I started working these, residential non-union jobs. The gentleman I worked for actually encouraged me to go into the union. He was retiring. He was sheet metal by trade. So I really just started looking into it and interviewed at the BAC in Rochester, New York. And I said, let me give this a try. I got thrown right onto the job before I had training, and I fell in love with it. I really liked that it was not only an outlet working with my hands, but you can, the whole experience was really great.
Yeah, I gotta be honest, and don't take this the wrong way, and I don't want to sound sexist, but you don't look like the typical bricklayer. I mean, my image of a bricklayer is a giant guy with no neck, giant hands. That's kind of my mental image of a bricklayer. Yeah, beauty pageant queen. I'm not my image of a bricklayer.
Yeah, I'm learning over time that, in today's day with how hectic things are, it's not like how it used to be. Women's roles have definitely become something different. We're not home cooking and cleaning necessarily and solely doing that. We also have to make money, and jobs truly don't have genders. Women can do anything a male can do.
Especially now, because I was at the AFL convention in Philadelphia over the summer, and they had this great thing that picked up the bricks for you. They had this giant, it was like a big hand, and it came down and picked up these 100-pound bricks, and it moved wherever you wanted to. And I'm going, if they had one of those when I was in high school, maybe I would have been a bricklayer.
Yes, Rick, I have seen those, the newer equipment that we have, but just like anything, your body gets used to it. When I first started and I was on a block job, my body hurt so bad. I felt like I got run over by a truck 3 times, backed over another 12. But in a few weeks to come, your body adapts and it gets used to it with the repetition.
So what do your friends say? Because look, I'm sure you get a lot of, the difference between being the bricklayer and the beauty queen. I'm sure there's some interesting conversation around that. And look, I think it's great. I don't want to make it sound like I think it's fantastic that you're doing this. I think it's fantastic that you have the opportunity to do this, and I think other people should. And I think it's great. But I'm curious the conversation and some of the statements that are brought towards you.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people just don't, when I conversate with them or meet somebody new and I tell them I'm a brick and block mason, and I do concrete. They look at me, a little funny, and they're like, "Oh, you're lying. You don't do that." But like I said before, I mean, women nowadays, you can do anything you set your mind to, and the pageant was just an additive. I was a mason before I actually started doing the beauty pageants. As my career developed, I got very passionate about being somebody for someone else that I necessarily might not have had. Meaning that, like, my goal is to start groups, or go to high schools to help promote the trades. And I thought doing a beauty pageant would be a great way to show girls and women that, hey, you can be true to yourself and also work just as hard.
It's an interesting frame. So as you're going around and you're telling these stories and you're talking to people, what kind of response are you getting?
Some people are a little open to it. I mean, as I've done a couple career fairs, talking to like middle school kids, give or take in age. And at first, they're a little hesitant. They don't quite understand it. But I think the more that we put it out there and communicate these types of things, people are becoming more open to it and actually want to try the hands-on aspect of it.
Now, as a parent, as the father of two daughters, there's always the thought of this is a male-dominated industry. You're an attractive young woman in a male-dominated industry. My fear as a father is that this is, basically, throwing my daughter's a woman to the wolves. Do you find that to be the experience?
Honestly, Rick, no matter what career you choose, I feel like you're always going to have to deal with some sort of something. Yeah, it is a male-dominant, predominant field. But the thing I love most about the union is that you have the most protection, and the community of people that stand behind you and want to see you succeed is just a beautiful thing. A lot of these men and older men have really taken me under their wing, and they don't want to put up with nothing. If they hear something on a job site, they 100% have my back, and so do the companies as well as the union.
Yeah, no, and that's been my experience, and I asked that question specifically to find out if that is what's going on, because I find that to be, time and time again, the environment that, especially in a unionized workforce, where the union does have the back of workers, and it is a family environment. Because I'm trying to allay the fears of people like me who go, no, I don't want my daughters anywhere near there. No, this is a viable option for women. It's a good career. It's a good paying career. It's a way, because you said at the start you wanted to go to college and be a pediatrician, I believe, right?
Yes.
And what stopped you? Probably money, right?
Well, money and just the learning style isn't for everybody. Some people learn, through books, and some people learn through working with your hands, and that's the beautiful thing about these apprenticeships is it's paid hands-on training. So
what advice when you give these presentations, what advice do you give young women and young men? Look, I mean, let's not be sexist one way or the other. What are you giving young people? What advice are you giving them? Because look, as I was talking in the last segment with Jamar about, the future for the building trades in this country is extraordinarily bright because of the infrastructure bill signed by President Biden a year ago yesterday. There is going to be a lot of bricks to be laid. There is going to be a lot of pipes. There are going to be a lot of wires. There are going to be a lot of buildings. There's going to be a lot of paving. There's going to be a lot of stuff that needs to be rebuilt, reinvented, redone. What are you saying to them?
Get out there and go for it. Keep an open mind. If you have an opportunity to go help dad out or help grandpa out or whoever it may be, try it. Because I know a lot of people like myself didn't know that they loved it or that it existed until you actually got out there and tried it. And don't be afraid if it's something that you do decide to dive into. Keep your head down, earn your respect, and there is room for advancement. There is room for growth, and that's something that you just got to keep in mind. No,
that's right there. There's a big part of the answer as well. So you're the third-year apprentice. How long is an apprenticeship program? How long does that go with the trades?
So for bricklaying, my program is 4 years. That can be a little dependent on work hours and things like that, but generally it's 4-year program.
Interesting. And you're getting to the end of the road there. And so then what will you do once you get to the end of the road? Once you get your apprenticeship in, then what will you be?
So after I finish my apprenticeship, I will be considered a journeyman, journeywoman per se, and I don't necessarily want my road to end there. I'm a strong believer in knowledge is power, so I want to learn as much as I can. I want to become a foreman, eventually start running work, and continue my goal of helping the youth, open their eyes to that this is a very viable option.
There it is, taking over and changing the world. There you go. That's kind of where I thought you were going to go. But Lindsay, I appreciate you taking some time for us. Good on you. I wish you the best in both the bricklaying world and the beauty pageant world. I hope you'll come back and talk to us again sometime down the road.
Thanks, Rick. I appreciate it.
Outstanding. Good stuff. Again, make sure you check out the Bricklayers website. bacweb.org is their website. We'll get links out on social media how you can take a look at that. Going to take a quick break. Right back after this. Stick around. You're listening to The Rick Smith Show, where working people come to talk.
If you're a fan of the show, you've heard our labor history in 2 segments, and you can hear them on the radio pretty much anywhere in the U.S. Labor history has never been more important than it is right now. So here's what we'd like you to do. Tell a teacher. Tell a teacher that labor history is important and that they can get digestible 2-minute lessons that are absolutely free. Free to download, free to use, free to share. Tell a teacher to go to thericksmithshow.com/history and help us put labor back where it belongs, in the classroom. Generations of American workers fought, bled, and died to build the American way of life. It's our job to keep their stories alive. Go tell a teacher that we're here to help them do just that. Find us at thericksmithshow.com/history today.
Welcome back to the Rick Smith Show. Now, here is Rick Smith.
What incredible stories. And look, these are replicated time and time again when you talk to people in the building trades. These kind of careers that are built, the financial security, the pride. And you got the sense from the first year apprentice, Jamar the first year to the third year apprentice, you get this sense of, this can do. I mean, Jamar was kind of little, he's a little, hey, I'm going to do this and I'm going to try. And Lindsay's at the point, I'm going to change the world. I'm taking over. I am taking over and changing the world. And, that's that kind of empowerment. That's good stuff. And, I keep coming back to, we are in a moment where I look at the president's, infrastructure bill. This is something that, quite frankly, we should be celebrating at every opportunity. The fact that, as I said with Jamar, this bill is going to be their career. This bill is going to be what people make lives out of, rebuilding our nation in a way that is going to get us the things we need, the investments that we desperately need. The roads, the bridges, the broadband, all of that stuff. But also the careers, the lives, the families, the communities, all of that stuff. And this is where, again, when you hear, the conservatives talk, government can't do anything. No, government investment does good things when done right. And this is a big part of it. Again, I give my friends at the building trades all the credit in the world for the lives that they transform. Good stuff. Again, bacweb.org if you want to check out the Bricklayers and Allied Crafts Union and the work that they do, and maybe how you can find an apprenticeship program in your neck of the woods. And look, when I went to the convention, I saw that giant thing that picked up the bricks. Going, maybe I would have been a bricklayer. Anyway, if you missed any of today's program, download the podcast. Wherever you get your favorite podcast, you will find ours. Also, if you got a question, comment, something on your mind, you can email me, rick@thericksmithshow.com. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you back here next time.
You've been listening to The Rick Smith Show. Email Rick at rick@thericksmithshow.com. Until next time, this has been The Rick Smith Show, where working people come to talk.